Issue 37, Lottery.
I need an unbiased viewpoint. A friend I've known for 2 years moved nearby. Since he was a close pal of long standing, I invited him to stay with me. We became roommates and got along fine. We agreed that we would play the state lottery with the following understanding. Each of us would purchase at least one lottery ticket every week, and if any of those tickets were a winner, we'd split the prize. Although I was unemployed for a period of time and not eligible for unemployment benefits, I still managed to buy a ticket every week. Often, when I asked my friend if he had bought his ticket, he would say, "I forgot," or "The lines were too long." Well, I hit 5 numbers, won $5,000, and decided not to cut him in on the money since I felt he had not kept his part of the agreement. Our lease was up, and we parted. He has all but shut me out of his life, and I'm sure this is the reason.
Comprehension. 1. When they played the state lottery, what was their understanding? 2. Did the writer have a good job? What did he do? 3. Did his friend buy tickets every week as they promised? Explain your answer. 4. What were his excuses for not buying the tickets? 5. How many numbers did the writer hit and how much money did he win? 6. Why didn't he give some of the money to his friend as he had agreed?
Let's talk. 1. Do you think he did the right thing? 2. What do you think about his friends shutting the writer out of his life? 3. Can they make up? How? Should they? 4. Do you ever buy lottery tickets? Why or why not? 5. If you won a fortune, what would you do with the money? 6. Would you continue your job if you won the lottery? 7. What do you think about the government issuing lottery tickets to raise money instead of levying taxes? 8. People say you'll be poor 10 years after you win the lottery. Do you think that's true? Why or why not?
Opinion samples. 1. The agreement was sloppy, to say the least. Too bad there wasn't anything in writing that invalidated the agreement under certain conditions. I would suggest that he give his friend $500 for friendship's sake, even though it could be argued that his friend wasn't entitled to anything. Question. Would you take $500 if you were the friend? Would you insist on more or not take anything at all?
2. He did nothing wrong. His friend didn't keep to the understanding. He just made lame excuses. He had no obligation to give anything to his friend. Question. Do you think he is being selfish? Issue 37. Lottery.
I have a moral dilemma. I want your opinion.
Shoot. You know I'm a paragon of wisdom on all moral issues.
Don't be so sarcastic. I know you have a lot of detached common sense, so I'd be interested in hearing your opinion.
But on matters of morality, no one can really make the decision except you.
Shoot, I know that, but I'd still like your input while I'm trying to decide.
Okay, I'll do my best, but don't expect too much from me.
Fine, here's the problem. I just won the lottery.
Wow, that's great! How is this a problem? You don't know what to buy for me?
Don't be silly, but it's actually a rather small amount. I'm not rich or anything, but it's nice to have a little extra money for the holidays, you know.
So what's the problem then?
It's like this. A friend at work and I decided to pool our resources. Each week we'd both buy one ticket. If I won, he'd get half, and if he won, I'd get half. That way we doubled our chances of winning.
Arrangements like that are a lot of fun, usually, until someone wins and doesn't want to share anymore. Then it's a real problem. Is that your moral dilemma?
Yep, you're so smart. I knew you'd be able to give me good advice.
What are your reasons for thinking you don't owe him half of it?
Well, I know that he didn't always buy a ticket every week. I'd ask him and he'd say that he was a little short that week or didn't have the time. But I always managed to get one every week.
Did he ever win when he did play?
No, I don't think so, but he only played 1/3 of the time.
If he had ever won, do you think you would have been entitled to half the winnings?
Absolutely. I did my fair share of the wagering. A deal is a deal.
But there would not have been a half unless he actually bought a ticket that week, right?
Yes, of course. But we're not talking about sharing his winnings. He never had any, and he didn't meet his obligations.
What if he had won one time and you had not bought a ticket that week? Do you still think you would be entitled to half?
I did buy one every week, so your question is beside the point. He's the only one who broke the agreement.
Just answer the question. If he had won and you had not bought a ticket that week, do you think he had a moral obligation to divide his winnings with you, even if that was the only week you missed?
No, I don't think so. I would not have honored our agreement, and so I would have defaulted on my part of the bargain. I wouldn't deserve anything. That's why I don't think he deserves half.
Did you ever terminate your agreement? Did you ever tell him that he wasn't playing by the rules, so you were going to discontinue the arrangement?
No, not really, but I used to scold him whenever he didn't perform.
So the agreement is still in place then?
Yes, I guess so. Or there wouldn't be any problem at all now, right?
Right. So, if he had bought a winning ticket, you'd expect half, right?
Only if I'd bought a ticket too, and I always did, but he didn't.
I realize that, but by not buying a ticket, he cut your joint chances of winning by half. And if you didn't buy one, you'd be cutting your chances by the same amount, right?
Yes.
And if neither had bought a ticket, there would be no chance at all of winning.
Of course.
So the more often you both bought one ticket, the better your overall chances of winning.
Yes, this is all very obvious. I know all of this. What about my problem?
And if you were the only one to buy a lottery ticket that week and it won, then you don't think he should get half? And if he had been the only one, you wouldn't demand your share, right?
Yes, I told you that before. That's why I am not inclined to give him any money.
Even if it ends your friendship?
Well, I guess he hasn't been that good of a friend anyway.
Then I only have one question. Did he buy a lottery ticket this week? If he didn't, then you won even though the odds were more heavily against you, making it more difficult to have the winning number. Since you don't think he's a very good friend anyway, then you wouldn't owe him anything. And he would probably be your enemy for life. But if he bought a ticket also, at least this week, he lived up to his end of the bargain. Even if this was the only time that he did so, the agreement would still be in effect. And so you would owe him half.
Then you think I should give him the money even though over the life of the agreement I put much more into the system than he did?
Each week, the game started over. Some weeks you both played, and other weeks only you played. So the odds of your winning every week changed accordingly. But the odds were not cumulative. There was no penalty that carried over. Each week you either won or lost. This week you won. If he had a ticket too, he's entitled to half. If you don't think you can trust his word, demand to see a receipt. But no matter what you decide, I suspect that this relationship will not continue much longer. At least one of you will be unhappy over the outcome.
Questions. 1. How did the system double the odds of the two participants? 2. Why does she think that she should not share her winnings? 3. Why will one of them be unhappy no matter what?